Welcome back, Internet. We are doing more work on the race car. Big surprise there, huh? So in this particular video, we're going to kind of bounce around a little bit. I got a bunch of different little stuff done. Hard to make a video about each one of those things, but we're going to condense it all down to one and show you in this video what we got going on. And also, even more odd in this day and age, I don't think I've really ever brought it to light yet, but this particular Mustang actually has a Ford motor in it for now. Yeah, imagine that. So anyways, lots of updates lots of updates today in this video. I'm gonna actually switch to the GoPro and kind of take you around the car and show you some of the stuff that I got done. Dangerously close to getting the car running. I'm really looking forward to that. But at the same time, I want to get it running where I can do some testing with it, you know, here in the driveway or whatever before I take it to the dyno. So I got a lot of other little stuff to get done. I think we're going to get to the traction control sensor mounting because all that stuff is already done. The machine work is done, which we did a couple videos ago. So we are well on our way to getting this thing fired up, hopefully this coming weekend. So follow along, check it out. Let's see what we got cooking right now. All right, so here's some of the stuff we got done. You can see the alternator spacer, and then back in here we got two more spacers that the wire is probably zip tied to. That spaces out the crank trigger, and that sensor right there, which is the Hall effect sensor that we're using with the MS3 Pro. All right, there's some more of the goodies, some more of the wiring right here, following all the way down. So we have the brake light switch, we have the line lock, then the wiring that goes up to the front, which is for the starter solenoid, and then the big heavy relay for the fan. And my dog's going crazy about something in there. All right, some more wiring. For those of you following on Instagram, you've probably seen some stills of this particular setup. I plan on wiring only the bare essentials to get the car fired up, and then from there we'll add the extras as needed. So right now that'll be the first wire we're going in on, or we're going to put in, which will be for this top fuse right here. That's going to be the keep alive memory for the MS3 Pro Ultimate. These 8 relays right here will control the basic stuff like the fan, the water pump, trans brake power, ignition power, all that kind of jazz. Okay, so I showed you earlier in the video the spacers that we made for this bracket right here. I actually had to change it around a little bit already. So if you take notice, the spacers that are right here, and there's another one right below it, I had to cut those back a little further because this hose fitting was actually up against all that. So that led to a chain of events that just never seemed to stop screwing things up. So what all that involved was I had the fitting for the water pump on the other side, which, as you can see with the downpipe there's no room for any of that. So now the downpipe, or I'm sorry, now the lower radiator hose fitting is back on this side of the car. But rather than run this long hose all the way to the other side of the car over here, where the radiator outlet would normally be, I actually got another radiator, and we're going to put both of those fittings over here on this side. So we're going to turn a regular single pass radiator into a dual pass, kind of like we did on the truck several videos ago, for those of you that have seen that. So now let's go and take a look at some of the other stuff. All right, so now we got the traction control sensor for the front wheel complete. Here's the reluctor wheel that we made earlier, a couple of videos back. There's the Cherry sensor bolted to this bracket, and you can see the wiring back here in the back, just kind of hanging out and waiting for his day. All right, and then there is the rear traction control sensor and the bracket made up and mounted and all that good stuff. And there's that reluctor that we put on the back of the yoke. Had to be tack welded in place since somebody, no names mentioned, maybe me, screwed up the crush fit on this piece and it didn't quite crush. It was very close, but didn't make it. Okay, more cool stuff underneath the car. We have that's going to be the primary fuel pump, so whenever it's running around just cruising or whatnot, not under full throttle, the engine's going to run off of this pump. When it switches over to boogie mode, this fuel pump will come online. It's going to be controlled by the computer, switched, probably at a certain boost setting. I haven't really decided yet. We'll have to mess around with that. And let's see, what else we got over here? We got the brake lines all situated, the anti-roll bar in place, of course. There's the other brake line, the AFCO shocks, all that good stuff, just about ready to rock and roll. Okay, so there's one more piece of the puzzle that we're working on right now, getting the radiator set up for a dual pass instead of a single pass. So there's the top hose connection has been blocked off, and we're going to put a divider in right here. So we're going to cut a slot right there. And all right, let's see what it's going to take. And the reason we're putting this hose over here on the side is because we kind of already got the reason we're putting the fitting over here on the side is because we kind of already got everything set up for that, and it kind of gets it out of the way too. Hopefully it won't cause too many problems with the cold pipe that comes up through here, but I guess we'll have to cross that hurdle when we get there. And then the lower fitting is going to go down here on the face. And we'll kind of put it just, right in there somewhere. So we want to test it with a fitting on it, make sure that it's going to be pretty easy to get to. I think we'll be all right if we put it all the way down at the bottom so we get the most water. So we're going to mark that. This one for the top. So you can see the X there on the side, and then there's one down at the bottom. The angle might be kind of weird, but right there is where that one is going to go. So we'll pull this thing out, weld the divider plate in there, and get it ready to mount the fan to it. All right, we got some done on the radiator. So you can see the little divider, the slot is cut and the divider is put in, and it goes all the way down to the tip of these cores where it comes into the side tank right here. And then holes cut for the upper and lower, and nothing else done on that side. So the coolant is going to flow, this is the bottom, the coolant's going to flow across, up this tank, and back over like this. That's what makes it a dual pass. Looks like we're gonna have to put the hose on before the shroud. So break it loose. Okay, so we're getting close to the end of this particular video, but I wanted to show you one thing that I kind of guessed on earlier in the bill, and now I'm kind of having to pay for it a little bit. And there's the beep. Anyways, I think you can see this wastegate that I have mounted here. It's kind of about the only way I can orient that particular wastegate because of the downpipe that comes through here and blah, blah, blah. So the cold side also has to occupy this space, but I had the cold pipe drop straight down, and it kind of needs to bend out just a little bit to clear the top of the wastegate. It's not the end of the world. When I actually built the cold side, you can see this particular joint is not even welded all the way around because I kind of expected to have this problem. So we're going to go through getting that refitted and finished up, and that'll be the end of the video. The next thing that we had to do, which was purely for aesthetics, well, for the most part, was cut this pipe back apart for two reasons. One, the radiator hose, which wasn't on the car when I made it the first time, the radiator hose was right on top of it, and I didn't want it resting on it the whole time. And the other part of that was the pipe was kind of pointed back this way a little bit, and it was kind of driving me crazy. So I got it cut, straightened up, and ready to get tacked back together. And yeah, that's it. One more interesting side note. This is going to get methanol injection on it, so somewhere in this area right here, it's going to get 4 210-pound injectors and a standalone fuel system for pure M1 methanol to go in right there. So that is coming up next, probably even in the next video. But anyways, let's go back and get this thing welded up and put on the car. Okay, I didn't film a whole lot of the cold side repair, redo, everything, just because it's kind of boring stuff, but it is done now. So I lengthened, or actually I changed the angle on this so it follows the radiator a little straighter, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier. Welded tabs on this so I can bolt it to the body, so it'll be a lot more likely, or a lot less likely I should say, to blow the pipes apart, and they're going to get lugs on them anyways. So cold side's all done. Got a whole bunch of stuff I got a whole bunch of stuff done this time around in this video. So like, I want to have it running really soon and get it on the dyno shortly thereafter. So we're gonna kind of go. We're gonna kind of wing it. We're gonna see how everything goes and kind of play it by ear. Rest assured, it will be going to the track soon. I'm ready. So, if you made it this far through the video, thanks a bunch for sticking around and watching it, checking it out. Give it a thumbs up, like it, subscribe it, all that neat stuff. We will see you in the next video, guys.